Now, we know all about the games, but which legendary is canonically the strongest? I know for a fact that Victini, Celebi, Mew, Nanafi, they can't all have the exact same power level. That would be ridiculous. Dialga and Palkia are probably very similar to each other, but why would Mewtwo have the exact same power level as the god of time and space? How does that work? We're gonna find out which Pokemon are the strongest canonically. This is a video from JPR. Please subscribe to JPR. His link is in the description as usual. Let's get a look and see what's happening here. Also, I see that you are a Arcanine connoisseur. Very smart. My favorite Pokemon is also Arcanine. I share that with you, and you're very, very smart for having that opinion. Now, we know the strongest legendary Pokemon obviously is Arcanine, but apart from that, I'm assuming this video will disregard that because it's so obvious.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's JP.
How did you know it's morning? It's 11:16 a.m. in the morning when I'm watching this. How did you know that?
And welcome back to another video. So in the past on this channel, we've discussed how rare every legendary Pokemon was, but we've never actually discussed how strong every legendary is. Canonically, I should say.
Because, I mean, Ho-Oh wouldn't have the same power level as Groudon. Not exactly the same. They might be very similar, but they're not going to be on the same level exactly. That wouldn't make any sense.
For instance, in terms of in-game usability, we all know that Regigigas is actually one of the weakest legendary Pokemon due to his slow start ability, but
this guy pulls continents! And as a resident continent puller, I can also confirm that that's not very easy. I mean, I do it, folks. I do it, but it's not easy.
In terms of the actual Pokemon lore, it is one of the stronger legendaries. Or vice versa, some Pokemon like Heatran or the Tapus are absolute beasts in competitive gameplay, but are relatively weak canonically speaking.
Wait, really? I genuinely didn't know that. I mean, Heatran is in a volcano, which, I mean, volcano power is very strong. Tapu Koko, that's a good point, actually. I don't know where the Tapus really get their power from. Are they just, like, kind of sick? Who made them? Where did the Tapus even come from? Are there multiple Tapus? Where did they come from? There's probably answers for this. I would imagine there's definitely answers for this. I just don't know.
So I'll be looking over all the evidence I can find, whether it's Pokedex entries, in-game lore, or one of those overpriced GameStop guidebooks hidden somewhere underneath my bed and 20 layers of dust. And of course, we'll be going from weakest to strongest using our handy-dandy tier list, going from unrealized power to no special powers to niche powers to exceptional powers to planet-altering to universal threats to literal gods.
Okay, well, I think we know who's going to be on that part.
Let's get started.
Guys,
but
I wonder who's going to be at the top.
A quick word from the sponsor of today's video, Keeps.
We love Keeps!
Most of you guys are young like me and probably don't think about hair loss very often. But if you've ever looked at your old man and thought, gee...
Listen, you might think that my hairline's not too bad because it's kind of like brushed forward a little bit, but I use this to hide the hairline. The hairline looks more like Vegeta.
Yeah, I hope that doesn't happen to me one day. Then there's no better time than now to try out Keeps. Keeps is a subscription service that focuses on making it easier and more affordable for men to treat male pattern baldness.
Wow, really nice knife.
In fact, 2 out of every 3 men will experience some form of hair loss before the age of 35. Which is why the younger you are, the more important it is to take action now. Keeps will even provide you with a licensed doctor who can answer any of your questions or concerns from the privacy of your own home. Prevention is key, and most men will see results within 4 to 6 months of using Keeps, so act fast.
Look at that!
If you're ready to take action to prevent hair loss, go to keeps.com/JPRPoketrainer98 or click the link in the description to receive 50% off your first order. That's keeps.com/JPRPoketrainer98. Thank you to Keeps. Now let's jump in.
That's crazy. Oh, he's born in 98? I'm in 96. I'm 2 years older than JPR is.
Kicking off our lowest tier,
the
Unrealized Power tier, are all the legendary Pokemon that evolve into more powerful legendaries. This includes Cosmog, Cosmoem, Kubfu, and Type Null.
Oh, Type Null. Okay. Well, actually, no, that makes sense because Type Null is kind of restrained by its head device, and when it's unleashed, it becomes more powerful.
Yes, he is officially recognized as a legendary. Don't make me keep repeating it.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's kind of dumb that Type Null of all things is a legendary, but what can I do? What am I going to argue with Game Freak? I'm going to walk in at Game Freak headquarters and start arguing with them. They speak in Japanese. Wakarimasen. Watashi no Nihongo ga heta. I only know a little bit. Skoshi Nihongo ga wakarimasu.
Essentially, there is really nothing special about any of these Pokemon in their base forms, but they will evolve into far more powerful legendaries eventually. Although if I had to rank these, obviously Cosmog and Cosmoem are at the bottom. They are literally useless.
I mean, Cosmo can like teleport and so that's pretty
sick.
Next
would be Kubfu because it's at least a functional Pokemon, and last would be Type Null because it pretty much has Silvally stats already, it just lacks speed and its signature ability.
Oh, that's true. Stats don't really change much when it evolves. I will say I do love Type Null's design. It just seems so alien and weird and different. Obviously, I know it's supposed to be a chimera. It's got like bug arms, fish tail. It's got a body of, I don't really know what that is. Umbreon, I guess. And then a rocky head.
Pretty easy tier though, so let's move on to the next one. The next tier is the no special powers tier. These Pokemon are just exceptionally strong and rare when compared to normal Pokemon, and more often than not have a relationship with a more powerful legendary Pokemon. Ranking lowest in this tier are Spectrier and Glastrier.
Oh, really? I mean, they are really good horses, though. And Spectre really reminds me of Shadowmere from the Elder Scrolls series, so that's a big thing for it. Where do these horses come from, I wonder? Are they just a breed of horse that lives in the mountains and the graveyards? Where does a Spectrier come from? Is a Spectrier just a Glastrier but dead? Is there like an original horse that they both evolved from? Oh no, I guess not evolved. Spectrier would just be the horse dead, and then Glastrier is the horse if it got really, really, really cold.
The most notable thing about them is that Calyrex rides them to work every day, so they are the epitome of beta. Up next, the Swords of Justice, Cobalion, Terrakion, and Virizion. Basically, they just help save a bunch of Pokemon from a forest fire.
I always do wonder how many of these individual Pokemon there are, because I know that obviously there's a lot of Zapdos, Moltres, Articuno. There's multiple of those that kind of fly around all the places. Brilliant. We've also seen a baby Lugia at some point, so potentially there's a many Lugias as well.
That's it. They're also some of the only Pokemon in this tier that don't have connections with a more powerful legendary, so they can't just be like, Downy, this 10-year-old is being mean and trying to catch me, please come help. Cobalion is their leader, which...
It's funny, it says that Calyrex is more powerful than Spectre and Glastrier, but Spectre and Glastrier could own Calyrex easily with no problems.
Possibly gives him the edge over the other two, but still a pretty unremarkable trio. Beyond them is Heatran, whose entire shtick is that he lives in volcanoes. From my understanding, it's just that a volcano forms somewhere in the world, and he's like, is for me? And then just takes up free residency there. He has no...
Oh my god, Heatran feels like a Dungeons and Dragons boss encounter to me.
Stacks no paper, and is maidenless.
Whoa, okay, I'm sure there's many maiden Heatrans. In fact, I think Heatran is one of the only legendaries that can be either male or female. The rest of them are non-binary. So technically, Heatran can have lots of maidens. In fact, it kind of has to in order to propagate its species.
All in all, a very unimpressive legendary. Just above Heatran are the 5 lower Regis. None of them have any unique powers, but they are all known for having exceptional endurance, and they are potentially immortal due to Regigigas making them out of nothing but their respective materials.
How did Regigigas make Regieleki? Also, wait, how did Regigigas make Regidraco? Did it just get a dead dragon and just go, you are alive now? Did it grab the thunder? Oh my god, wait. Regieleki being made because Regigigas grabbed the thunder and said, no, you live! And Regieleki was born? That would be really cool. I get the other ones. Like, obviously you can carve rock, steel, and ice into certain things, but the elements themselves is very impressive. There should be like Regifire, Regiblaze, Grass, Blades?
This means that they have no internal organs and they can regenerate their strength as long as they have the materials nearby. Regieleki and Regidrago are probably the most impressive of the 5, with Regieleki being capable of supplying all the power in the Galar region, and Regidrago evidently possesses the power of all Dragon-type Pokemon.
What does that mean? What do you mean wait, whoa. You possess the power of all Dragon-type... I feel like the Pokedex is wrong on that, because there's certain Dragon-type Pokemon, like Rayquaza, you have the power of a Mega Rayquaza. You have the power of Dialga and Palkia? Do you? Do you have the power of Giratina? Are we over-exaggerating here a little bit, Pokedex? Maybe the Pokedex is over-exaggerating. I don't believe that Regidraco has the power of a Mega Rayquaza.
The Regis are hard to place, honestly, because you could say that they're more threatening because people had to lock them away to keep themselves safe, but at the same time, if humans are able to lock you up, are you really that powerful?
Oh, I mean, let me introduce you to the Pokeball. Hey, the Master Ball, listen, humans can lock pretty much anything up. Humans can lock each other up. The Master Ball can lock up any Pokemon you want now.
And no, I don't mean being locked up in some 10-year-old.
Son of a bitch! I mean, yeah, no, that's stupid. I wouldn't even mention that because it's so dumb. Obviously, the Pokeballs are different. They put them in a cave. It's way different. Son of a stupid.
It's Master Ball, that's the great equalizer, and we don't like to talk about it.
Yeah,
and at the top of this tier are the original legend.
Yeah, we don't talk about it. We wouldn't do that.
Birds, Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres, who truthfully are only this high due to their roles in Pokemon 2000, where a conflict between them could throw the entire world's climate into chaos.
What? Okay, all right, dude. I don't know. The whole world's climate? I mean, that seems like a big, maybe like the climate of a village area.
But seeing as how that's a rather rare occurrence, and on their own they aren't particularly destructive or possess any special powers, and not to mention that was probably just old school Pokemon being dramatic before an actual scale of powers was developed later on,
True.
I decided it would be best to leave them in this tier. Certainly you could debate that they deserve to be a bit lower than the other Pokemon here though. Our next tier is the Niche Powers tier. This includes Pokemon that have some sort of special ability or power that separates them from the crowd, but it's not exactly a widely usable ability or a particularly powerful one.
Actually, no, to be fair, Granting Wishes is pretty much, actually Wish is one of the most powerful spells in D&D. And D&D is exactly like Pokemon, there's no difference.
At the bottom of this tier are Urshifu, Latios, and Latias, who really don't have amazing powers, but
Wait, what's Urshifu's niche power?
Urshifu is the only legendary capable
of
Gigantamaxing, and Latios and Latias can at least Mega Evolve, which is more than some legendaries have. Cresselia is next, possessing the ability to dispel nightmares created by Darkrai.
That's wow. Talk about niche. Oh my days. That is the most niche power. Imagine being created. You're like, you are a legendary Pokemon. Like, oh my god, Arceus. Wow, I'm a legendary Pokemon. That's so sick. Like, what do I do? Do I mold the world in my image? Do I create calamities unforetold yet by man? No, you you get rid of some nightmares from like one guy. Oh, okay. That's not that cool.
Yep.
I guess.
That's pretty niche. So niche that the Sinnoh games only give it the regular wild Pokemon battle theme. That's just insulting. Right above Cresselia are Raikou, Entei, and Suicune, the legendary beasts. Please don't call them the legendary dogs. Have you ever seen what a dog looks like? Raikou has the ability to control storm
that is a cat.
Clouds at will and travel within lightning bolts. Entei's bark is said to erupt volcanoes across the world, and
which would really annoy Heatran. You imagine noisy neighbors? You're sick of that dog barking from down streets? Imagine the dog barks and your entire home explodes immediately.
Suicune can purify tainted lakes and rivers by running across them. Hey, not every power has to be destructive. Next we have the Kamis, also known as the Forces of Nature, Tornadus, Thundurus, and Landorus, and of course the newly added Enamorus. Although the four of them are commonly associated with fertility and the growing of crops, they can each create massive storms and cyclones.
Enamorus is associated with a different type of fertility, if you know what I mean.
Clones to punish people who damage the land, and in the anime, Giovanni demonstrates that by controlling them in their Therian forms, a never-ending wave of natural disasters can also be created.
Jesus Christ, where there's so many animals that can just create natural disasters constantly, how is the Pokemon world still in one piece? We got Groudon and Kyogre destroying the land, using water to flood the land, creating new land constantly. The tectonic plates are just having an absolutely awful time. You have the original bird trio causing climate change. You have these Landorus forms causing calamities worldwide. Then you got bloody Dialga and Palkia. Giratina's hanging out somewhere.
But it appears that this isn't an ability that any of them have access to individually, so it doesn't count for much. Next is Silvally, who is developed as an Ultra Beast killer and does have the ability to switch to any type. It's worth mentioning that I did not include the Ultra Beasts in this video since they aren't officially recognized as legendary Pokemon, although they do share many of the same characteristics. But if I did include them, they'd probably be in this tier too, because although they don't possess any unique powers, they are still remarkably dangerous.
Also, the Ultra Beasts, I'm just realizing the Ultra Beasts are really weird looking.
Especially Guzzlord, who can devastate entire planets with its non-stop eating. Slightly above
and his non-stop screaming. How am I supposed to sleep with this guy around?
Silvally are the 4 island Tapus, who also fight against Ultra Beasts, but can periodically turn violent against humanity too. They
just somehow randomly decide, that village over there, damn, what if it didn't exist?
Each have a special power available to them as well. Tapu Koko can store thunderclouds in its shell. Tapu Fini can heal people.
What's the point? What does that do? Store thunderclouds in its shell? Okay, Tapu Fini can heal people?
Using scales. Tapu Bulu can manipulate plants, and Tapu Fini controls ocean currents and can bring the souls of the dead back within its mist as seen in the anime.
Jesus, okay, that's pretty insane, but what, manipulate plants? How are you gonna manipulate a plant? They can't even speak. You can't really talk to a plant. We're gonna manipulate a plant into doing? Growing faster? I mean, I guess
to round out the top of this tier, we have Mesprit, Azelf, and Yuxi, the Lake Trio. They may not look like much, but according to the Pokedex, each one is capable of taking away the memories, emotions, and willpower of their foes. In Azelf's case, it can literally control the bodies of its opponents. And most terrifying of all,
Wait, hold on. That would be a sick feature to have in battle. See, Azelf has an exclusive move that allows you to, when you are hit by it, Azelf like puppeteers you and chooses what you do in the next turn. That would be disgusting. That would be really overpowered. Yeah, no, that would be terrible. We should not do that.
these 3 Pokemon are gathered in one place. They can create a red chain that summons and controls the gods of the Pokemon world.
Okay, wait, hold on. I feel like they have like a very, very, very high power level if they can do that. Surely if they can, like, if they could use the red chain to control the god of time, space, and the underworld, I mean, that's got to like knock you up a few tiers, surely.
But, like I mentioned earlier, that isn't something that they can do individually. And
fair.
out of the 2 red chains that we've seen throughout human history, both of them kinda didn't work as planned.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, this red chain, actually, that's a good point. The red chain doesn't really, doesn't really work very well.
So, I'm not really sure how to rank that as a power. Nonetheless, I feel like they easily rank at the top of this tier. To kick off the exceptional powers tier, and this is probably the hardest tier to rank due to the wide range of abilities, we have Ho-Oh and Lugia. Lugia is the easier of the 2 to explain, so we'll start with it. For starters, the flap of Lugia's wings can both create and quell storms, some of them lasting as long as 40 days.
Wow, wait, oh, wait. I'm sure I've heard of a storm that lasted 40 days and 40 nights before.
Even a gentle flap from its massive wings can easily destroy homes, so as a result, it isolates itself deep under the sea.
Oh, it's too strong for its own good. That's sad.
Ho-Oh, on the other hand, has powers that are far less destructive, but that doesn't make them any less extraordinary. Most notably, it can resurrect Pokemon from the dead, as seen with the legendary beasts after the
That is actually insane.
Tower tragedy. Its flames are said to burn forever, and it grants eternal happiness to anyone who sees it.
What? Eternal happiness to anyone that sees it? Boy, it just flew over Pallet Town. I'm sure Ash was not the only person to see it. Unless he can, like, selectively choose who sees and who does not see.
The power can come in all sorts of forms. Our next Pokemon, Calyrex, is similar and also possesses many unique abilities.
Nah, I'm sorry. Calyrex? Nah, low tier. F tier.
Like the Kamis, Calyrex is also capable of creating bountiful harvests, but it can additionally use its psychic powers to control people and Pokemon, as seen through Peony and its 2 steeds. While riding on the steeds,
God, his legs are so gangly.
can bring out their true power as well and use attacks that will blast through entire mountains. And finally, unlike other Pokemon that Dynamax using the remains of Eternatus' energy, Calyrex is able to Dynamax using its own internal energy, as evidenced by the blue aura that surrounds it.
Oh, wait, I didn't know that. Oh my god, wait, that's something I genuinely did not know. That's really niche. It just has its own Dynamax energy.
Calyrex is clearly a being of great power, but unlike most legendary Pokemon, that power is largely expressed in more gentle and benevolent ways. Taking us even higher in the power hierarchy, we have 3 duos of legendary Pokemon, and just know that despite the order, they're all roughly the same power level in my opinion, and we're really
Is it Dalgapalkia, Groudon,
hard
Kyogre,
to
and
rank. So, keeping it in the Galar region, we have the hero duo
Never mind.
Zacian and Zamazenta. Of course, they are most notably known for being able to defeat Eternatus during both Darkest Day events, though not without help from Hop's Dubwool. The armor they carry is so solid that not only can they shrug off attacks from Dynamax Pokemon, but they can also strike them down with ease.
Do you think Zacian ever gets tired of carrying around its freaking sword in its mouth all day, all the time?
And they do the Luke Skywalker force projection stuff too. Not exactly powerful, but it is cool.
Damn, they missing ears. They've been in too many battles.
Working together, they can undo the effects of Eternatus' Eternamax, which prevents all Pokemon attacks from working. Now, of course, since it hasn't been mentioned yet, Eternatus does indeed rank higher than these 2 do.
Oh yeah, Eternatus. Well, I wonder what is going on with Eternatus. Like, what in God's name is Eternatus? Truly, that thing just appears and is so strong, like stronger than everything?
Because if Zacian and Zamazenta were separated, it's highly unlikely that either one of them would have been able to defeat Eternatus alone. Up next are the previous generation's mascots Solgaleo and Lunala. As the emissaries of both the sun and the moon, they are capable of giving off or absorbing the light of large areas.
As much as I love Lunala, I think being the emissary of the sun is way, way, way sicker than being the emissary of the moon. I mean, the moon's cool and all, but moon like this size, sunlight like this size. It's way bigger, has more power. I mean, the moon basically just reflects sunlight. It's just, I'm sorry, I love Lunala too. It hurts me to say this.
The energy they emit is enough to actually override the current time of day when it comes to evolving a Rockruff into Lycanroc, which is a fact that I only just now learned about.
Oh, what? What? Oh, wow, That is odd. Okay.
These Pokemon fought alongside the Tapus long ago to defeat the Ultra Beasts attacking Alola, and they can create Ultra Wormholes to travel between dimensions. Finally, both possess incredibly strong Z-moves at their disposal.
Yeah, I mean, creating an Ultra Wormhole to travel through dimensions is the burying the lead. That's a crazy that you just travel to different dimensions. No, who else can do that?
And to round out this group of mascots,
Necrozma
we have Zekrom and Reshiram. In the ancient past, both of these Pokemon destroyed massive kingdoms in a battle of truth and ideals. Their pillars of lightning and fire are said to be what created the two rivers that still exist in Unova today.
If your ideals are against the truth, are they truly ideals worth holding? They have this battle between truth and ideals, but your ideals should be based off of what is true, no?
Both of these Pokemon came from the original dragon, and like Zacian and Zamazenta, when weakened they turn into stones to preserve their lives. Using the powers of fire and electricity, they can easily incinerate everything around them. This has led many people to believe that both of these Pokemon could easily scorch the world. But that could just be some old-fashioned Pokedex.
Nah, not the whole world. I mean, listen, the whole world is a really big place.
That's hyperbole. As stated before, I view all 6 of these legendary Pokemon as equals, but feel free to let me know what you think down below. However, there is still one Pokemon left atop this tier.
I'm obsessed with watching this Pokeball spin on screen. It's mesmerizing.
That's being Kyurem. Basically, take everything I just said about Zekrom and Reshiram and apply it to Kyurem as well, because it just stole their entire bodies away. But even in its base form, we know Kyurem could surpass both of them, as its Gen 8 Dex entry for Pokemon Home reads, dwelling within it is a power even greater than that of Zekrom or Reshiram. But the extreme cold keeps that power bound.
The extreme cold keeps it bound? Oh my god, just get it in front of a fire, get it warm and toasty. Just put the heating on. And that thing will become so powerful.
Presumably, that power is what remains of the original dragon, but Kyurem keeps that power on ice, waiting for the day when it can finally reclaim the body it once had. All I'm saying is, if we don't get Legends Kyurem as a game, I will be sorely disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, we really got to see that big boy. I think they'll never reveal it just because the idea of it is cooler than the actual revealing of something.
Honestly, who knows what Kyurem's actual power limit is? But for now, I have to keep it atop this tier because at least it's capable of absorbing Zekrom or Reshiram and making their powers its own, which is no easy feat. And now we have reached the big boy tier, Earth-altering powers. These are Pokemon that have either changed the shape of the Earth in some way, or they are threats to our entire existence.
Groudon, Kyogre, Eternatus, Necrozma. That's what and Rayquaza might be higher, actually, because Rayquaza just makes Groudon and Kyogre sit down like they're children in a new school.
Kicking this tier off is Regigigas, the Pokemon that is
Regigigas, the guy who pulls continents, obviously.
Said to have literally towed the continents across the world using ropes. And of course, managed.
How many bloody ropes did he need? How many ropes do you need to attach to a continent to pull it? Wouldn't it just like break off the ends? This is like the Homelander plane situation in The Boys, where it's like, yeah, I can't carry a plane because my hands will just go through the plane. It's not like the surface area of my hand is not large enough to be able to adequately lift it. If you put all the ropes on the end of a continent and you pull, you'll pull the ground off. But I guess this is also fake and not real, and you have to disbelieve some suspension to be able to understand what's going on.
To create the aforementioned 5 immortal beings who are powerful enough in their own rights. Its command over these Regis is so powerful it can override the effects of Pokeballs as seen in the Diamond and Pearl series when Brandon attempted to meet it. And in the 11th movie, Giratina and the Sky Warrior, Regigigas helps in holding back a massive glacier mere minutes after its awakening. When it comes to raw
Brandon, that was with its slow start as well.
Strength, few can outdo Regigigas. But up next on our list is the most savage of all Pokemon in the world.
Necrozma.
One formerly crowned as the strongest Pokemon in the world, Mewtwo. The Pokedex explicitly states that Mewtwo's battle abilities have been raised to the ultimate level, allowing it to defeat any foe. Like other psychic types on this list, it's also been shown to be capable of mind control, and it creates a storm intended to wipe out humanity in the first movie. Mewtwo is truly the most terrifying weapon created by man, but there are other entities that surpass such a creation.
I don't know if Mewtwo really could have wiped out the world. I'm gonna say I don't think he could have done it. I think someone would have woke up at some point and said, hang about, what's all this going on here? Let me sort this out. Ho-Oh and Lugia would get right on the case, sorting this guy out. I'm sure he would.
Including the Pokemon of life and death themselves, Xerneas and Yveltal. Both are capable of giving or absorbing life from everything around them, and their mere auras are strong enough to invigorate other fairy or dark-type Pokemon. Not to mention that their powers to give and take life were instrumental in the building of Kalos' ultimate weapon, which devastated the entire region. the after effects of which would later give birth to the Mega Evolution phenomenon. Both of these
Oh, really? Wait, that's how Mega Evolution came to be? I'm learning a lot today, genuinely. I didn't know
Pokemon
that.
are
I think I just wasn't paying attention when I was playing through X and Y, which, to be fair, is mine own fault.
overflowing with power that influences everything they touch. With that being said, I'm sure some of you are wondering why they don't rank higher in this tier, and that's mostly because the reach of their powers are confined to a radius of roughly a few hundred miles. These Pokemon aren't
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
capable of destroying or reviving the entire Earth. Not to mention that they go into a 3,000-year-long coma afterwards, so they aren't exactly efficient.
Oh, sorry, they're just a little sleepy, okay? Basically doing nuke? That takes a lot of energy.
But when it comes to worldwide disasters, few Pokemon come to mind faster than Groudon and Kyogre. In their primal forms, Groudon and Kyogre are capable of creating droughts or rainstorms so severe that all of humanity would be wiped out within a few days. They certainly have a farther-reaching impact than either Xerneas or Yveltal do. Sure, being able to control the
My god, how hot was it?
ice force
Jesus!
of an entire country is impressive, but
It must have been as hot as Japan was in summer when I went there in August. I went to Japan in August. My god. I know where they got the idea for Groudon from now. My god, that was so weltering. Not enjoyable to be around it, but, a trip of a lifetime. I absolutely loved it. It was brilliant.
being able to manipulate the weather conditions of the entire world or even control the intensity of the sun, which is 93 million miles away from Earth, now that is powerful.
Maybe it's not necessarily controlling the intensity of the sun. Maybe it's like creating a hole in the ozone layer or the atmosphere that allows the sun's rays to beat more harshly. Maybe that's it, because my god, if you can actually control the sun that bloody far away, that's top tier. That's better than Arceus.
If I had just said these Pokemon created the land and sea, that would be enough to land them in this tier, but that's only the beginning of their fierce power. But as it's commonly known, Rayquaza is the one whose powers override both of them, being able to dispel abnormal weather and even able to Mega Evolve at will thanks to a special organ that stores meteorite energy within it.
What? Oh my god, just has an organ like that? What is it, a space
Using
ring?
this Mega Evolution power, it once stopped Earth from being destroyed by a meteor shower, and it's been known to take on extraterrestrial threats such as Deoxys.
He just goes and fights aliens every now and then. That's so funny.
Another legendary Pokemon known for dispelling threats.
Actually, yeah, speaking of, like, what is up with Deoxys? I guess it's a mythical, so it's not necessarily in this video because this is legendary Pokemon, not mythical Pokemon. But what's going on with Deoxys?
And keeping the world in check is Zygarde, who I would say is roughly on the same power level as Rayquaza. Originally thought as merely the protector of Kalos, we now know that Zygarde exists everywhere around the world to protect the ecosystem. Which begs the question, what the heck has he been doing when all these other threats happen? But still...
That's what I'm saying. Like, Mewtwo wakes up and starts a storm that's gonna end humanity. Pfft, what's Zygarde doing? Not being created for another 15 years? That's what he was doing.
With 100% of its cells assembled, Zygarde has the power to eliminate any threat facing the world, certainly making it the strongest Pokemon within this tier. But what about threats that come from beyond this world? Threats that Pokemon like even Rayquaza and Zygarde wouldn't be prepared to deal with. Well, that's where the second highest tier, Universal Threats, comes in, featuring Eternatus and Necrozma.
Yeah, I mean, this is some big problems, though. To be fair, if Zacian and Zamazenta can take down Eternatus with also the help of other Pokemon like Double, which is very important and instrumental to winning, then maybe it's not as bad as Necrozma, which eats the light of an entire planet.
Starting with Necrozma, this Pokemon has devastated entire dimensions in its mad search for light. Not only is it capable of opening massive amounts of ultra wormholes, but it can also overtake Solgaleo and Lunala's bodies similar to Kyurem. And that's just the extent of its power in its broken form. As Ultra Necrozma, it can use light that burns the sky, the most powerful move in existence without any drawbacks. Its body also burns at a temperature of 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit,
What, 10,000? Wait, isn't that like less than Macago?
which is just over the temperature of the sun, making
my
it
God.
practically untouchable.
Wait a minute, so our character walked up to it and it has 10,000 degree Fahrenheit heat? Surely the heat radiates off. You're telling me my character didn't just turn to dust immediately? I guess it didn't turn to dust when Macago touched, or it touches Macago. You can pet Macago and Pokemon Me or whatever it is and be perfectly fine.
Eternatus is pretty dang similar, all things considered. In its base form, it's not much to marvel at, but after Eternamaxing, it by far becomes the strongest Pokemon stat-wise, and creates a massive storm that rips apart space and time itself, making other Pokemon unable to use moves against it. Eternatus can expel a nearly infinite amount of energy and force other Pokemon to Dynamax against their wills as well.
Damn, that is terrifying. My god, just look at that.
Both of these Pokemon come from beyond Earth and are single-handedly responsible
Oh my god, oh my god. It's taken me until now to realize that Eternatus isn't just a hand, it's a Hydra, because all the fingers open up as if they're mouths. So it's like a Hydra hand that has a bunch of heads like the 5-headed dragon. Oh my god. That's so sick.
for the births of Z-moves and Dynamax. It's hard to say which one is truly more powerful, but they certainly both deserve a tier of their own.
We should make them fight.
But now we finally reached the final tier of this video, the Godlike Powers tier.
I think this is gonna be Dialga, Palkia, Arceus, and Giratina, right? I can't think of anyone else that would
Which
fit on this.
includes Pokemon that are pretty much gods themselves. Unsurprisingly, the only Pokemon here are the Creation Trio, Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina. Who,
And Arceus.
stat-wise and transformation-wise, are actually very underwhelming compared to the last handful of Pokemon we discussed, but we'll just blame that when I'm power creeping. In terms of lore alone, if you don't have these Pokemon, you don't even have a Pokemon world to begin with. Representing time, space, and antimatter respectively, these Pokemon wield an incredible amount of control over not just Earth, not just the universe, but the multiverse and everything within it.
Jesus Christ, them all assembling at the same time? That's kind of terrifying.
I mean, really, they can do everything. Travel through dimensions, rip holes in reality, and they are most closely related to Arceus itself, the creator of the Pokemon world.
Dude, why is Giratina so goopy? Why is he spreading all this goop everywhere? It's gross, Giratina. Jeez, wash yourself, please. I guess they don't have showers in the Distortion world. That is probably a bit of an issue. They don't have showers or toilets. Oh, it sounds nasty, honestly.
Who is unfortunately not in this video due to its status as a mythical Pokemon, but hey, maybe that's something I'll tackle in a future video. Of course, if you want to see that, make absolutely sure you're subscribed. So here is the final list to recap everything
Pretty
I
good
went
list.
over. Hopefully that wasn't an information overload and you had time to digest all of it. Nonetheless, it took a ton of work to put this together, so I greatly appreciate if you left a like on this video and a comment down below.
Absolutely.
I'll see you guys.
Yes, I did leave a like on this video, and I'm so glad that this video did so well. Listen, JPR has a ton of absolutely fantastic videos that you should watch, and you should go watch them right now. You should go and do it right now. After you use code Patterrz at GamerSubs, that is. Whoa!